We need good news now, right? And I've got it. Do you guys want some good news tonight? Yeah? All right. I finally have good news. This is the good news. The good news is I found out today that the numbers are finally going down of people pursuing their dreams. And I think that's good, right? Too many big dreamers in the world. We need to get one big reality check, right? For the entire world. I used to be one of them. I used to be a really big dreamer. I used to be like, when I make it, I'm gonna have a beautiful house in Malibu. You know, I had a real clear vision of my vision board if I had made one. And maybe that was a problem. I never made the board to go with the vision. But if I had, it would have this beautiful house, all glass windows. You know, I pictured myself waking up every morning, going out and gazing at this beautiful ocean view. And now I'm like, when I make it, I'm gonna get a headboard for my bed. A real firm one, no IKEA shit, the real deal. I'll wake up in the morning, I'll be like, I'm a grown-up now. I've got a headboard. I think my problem is my parents were too supportive, right? You want supportive parents to a point, but you don't want them too supportive. Like if I had kids now, I'd be like, you know what you're good at, Johnny? You're good at stocking the fridge. You put that milk away next to the eggs, and if you get really ambitious, I want you to run a lap around the house and then deliver the milk to the front door, and maybe you'll work for Amazon one day. But my parents were the opposite. My mom's a violinist, so she's always been a dreamer, artist type, and she's always like, honey, just find what you love to do, and the money will follow. And I'm like, okay, but how far back is it following? Right? Like, are we talking 10 years, 20 years? Is this some karmic life lesson that in this lifetime I'll be broke and in a future lifetime I'll have a headboard? And she was like, honey, you're not our problem anymore. Plus, you owe us $1,000, so maybe hold off on the headboard. She's always comparing me to people. Like, once she was like, you know who you're like, Erica? You're just like Grandma. Because you're in a male-dominated profession with stand-up comedy, and Grandma was in a male-dominated profession with aeronautical engineering. I was like, yeah, we're pretty much the same person. Except one of us was very good at math, and the other owns one towel. Besides that, we're both killing it. Then she was like, I'm just so relieved you were never involved with Harvey Weinstein. She's like, I know you weren't, because I told your father if she had been, she'd be a lot more successful. But honey, you can sleep at night. And I was like, actually I can't, because my mattress is really uncomfortable. I can't really afford a new one, but I get what you're trying to say. Thank you. I'm in my 30s now. Yeah, who's in their 30s? You wanna? Good! Good! It's a good age, right? It's a good age because your 30s is when you become a person, right? That's when you become a person. Your 20s, you try on different personality types. You're like, maybe I'm rocker chick, maybe I'm emo girl. And then you turn 30 and you just get your mom's haircut and call it a day. You're just like, I'm gonna be her for the rest of my life. Why fight it? And I don't think it's old, right? 30s isn't old, but we've decided as a society to start saying we're old. The second we turn 30, we're like, that's it, I'm old now, I'm old. And then for 10 years, we keep saying that. We're like, I'm old, I'm old, I'm old, I'm old. And then you turn 40, and you're like, now I'm old. Like, I could have been young for an extra 10 years, but I wasted it saying I was old. Now I've lost 10 extra years where I could have been young. Then you turn 80, you're like, now I'm really old. I could have been just kind of old, now I'm really old. Then you die, and you're like, I could have been alive for 83 and a half years. Now I'm dead, I can't even have this brilliant thought. So the point is, none of us are old because we're still here, right? Still doing this life thing. 20s is good. I don't relate to it now because I'm like, you guys are so cute because you still think you matter. Right? The rest of your life's just going to be a very long journey where you find out you matter less and less and less every day, and then you die. Not to give it away, but that's what's coming up. I feel like you spend your 20s sort of waiting for your life to start, right? You're like, next year I'm going to get that big job, and my life is going to start. And then another year goes by, and you're like, next year I'm going to fall madly in love, and my life is going to get started. And then another year goes by, and you're like, next year I'm going to get 2 towels, and my life is going to start. And then you turn 30, and you're like, shit, it started. Like, this is my life. Like waiting for the bus to come, but you're already on the bus, and you're like, when's the bus getting here? And they're like, you are on it. You are on the bus. And you're like, why am I riding a bus? I definitely don't want to go out as much in my 30s, right? Like, going out feels like kind of a big hassle. And I went to a bar the other night with my friend, and we lasted about 5 minutes, and we got bored. We're like, you want to go? Yeah, let's get out of here. And as we were walking to our cars, my friend was like, oh my God, Erica, we're getting older. We're not fun anymore. And I was like, no, that's not what's happening. Don't worry. It's not that we're not fun anymore. It's that we're getting older and we're getting wiser, and we're starting to realize it was never fun. We just pretended this whole time. I hate if I'm going on a date or something and someone goes, Erica, just have fun and be yourself. Because for me, it's one or the other, right? Like, I can't do both at the same time. Like, I'll never be this girl, who posts a photo on Instagram in some fancy, Warrior 22 pose on top of a mountain, and there's like this beautiful sunset, and the caption, living the dream. I'm more the girl who posts a selfie from bed with the caption, can't get up. But yeah, I think we've gotten a little bit too PC, and I think that it's a problem, right? Because the problem is you're taking away the person's ability to laugh at themselves, which we really need, right? And I have a story I'll tell you, which to me really captures what I mean about being like a little too PC, which is I have a friend who has 2 hook hands. And you guys got silent, but maybe somebody in the back who was brave was laughing at that, right? Someone in the back might have been laughing. And that's okay. It's okay if you laughed at it, because it doesn't mean you hate people with hook hands, right? It just means you didn't think I was going to say hook hands. That's all. That's all that means. So the first time I met the guy, I also didn't expect a hook, right? It sort of, kind of took me aback because he shook out the hook, and I didn't see that coming. So I was like, what do I do in this situation? I'm not sure. Like, I've never been here before. Do I shake the hook? Do I not shake the hook? Do I hang my jacket on it? I'm not sure. So in the heat of the moment, I just decided I'm just going to pretend everything's fine, right? Just bottle up my emotions. I shook the hook, said, nice to meet you, and I walked away. And then I had a friend who was a comic, and he was on the same show with me, and then he got the hook. And when he got the hook, he goes, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? You gotta warn a guy. You gotta warn a guy before you just shove your cutlery in his face. And I was like, that was the right reaction. That's how I wish I had reacted, right? Because immediately the guy just looked so at peace, like, thank God someone's acknowledging the reality of the situation, not bottling it all up inside, pretending everything's fine. And we all had a good laugh and got on with it, right? So I feel like the moral of the story is, if you're ever uncomfortable, just freak the fuck out, make a big scene, and just get on with it. Because we're all human, right? We're all human. We all have flaws. We have to be able to laugh at ourselves, That's what I think. I'd say the thing that I battle is depression. And I think that depressed people have had, I think it's been a hard time to be depressed right now, right? Are you guys, they're clapping. If you're a depressed person, this has been an even harder time because we used to be special. Right? We used to be special. You could call up a friend and be like, I'm so depressed. And your friend would be like, why, Erica? Tell me, what's going on? And now you call up a friend, you're like, I'm so depressed. And they're like, yeah, Erica, everybody's depressed. And you're like, no, but like I was depressed before all this happened, so I get like extra points for that. Like I'm like doubly depressed now. And your friend's like, no, Erica, we're all flatlined with the depression. Like we're all equally depressed now. The entire world is depressed. You're not special anymore. And then you're like, great, now I'm even more depressed. I watched Taylor Swift's documentary. I don't know if anyone, who loves Taylor Swift? Honk if you love her. Wow, okay. Yikes, who doesn't get it? Okay. All right, so even. I'm sort of in the middle. Like I do respect her. I think she's like a powerhouse of a star. She's really talented. I love a couple of her songs, and my niece loves her, and I think she's a great role model for women. She's strong, she's talented, all those things. The only thing I question is whether she deserves a documentary, right? I mean, she was 26 years old when they made it. Like, why? Why do you need a documentary? But I was like, you know what? I'll give it a fighting chance because maybe it will reveal something about her. Because for me, I feel like with Taylor, the reason I don't connect with her personally is she seems too perfect, right? She just seems like she's got her shit together. She's never done anything wrong. So I was like, well, maybe in the documentary, it will reveal something about her that I didn't know. Like maybe she has like some ugly tattoo on her left thigh, right? Like maybe she made a mistake once in her life. So in the documentary, I thought maybe there'll be something, we learn. And first, there's one revelation where she gets kind of emotional and she goes, I realize, this is hard for me to say, but I realize that sometimes I don't eat. And we're like, we know, Taylor, this isn't news. Like, we've been watching you since you were 16. We don't think you've eaten since, Like, that's not a revelation. And then the next revelation I actually thought was kind of like a little bit deeper, which is she said, I've been performing my whole life, so I've sought validation from the outside world. I've never really gotten in touch with who I really am. And now I realize what really matters are friends and family. And I was like, wow, that's actually really genuine and real. Like that was a good growing moment. But then she has one glass of wine with a friend, but it looked like the friend was hired to play the friend because they didn't speak at all. I was like, this poor girl got hired to play the friend. She didn't even get any lines. I was like, that sucks for that girl, And then the next scene is she gets on the phone with her agent when she finds out she wasn't nominated for any Grammys, right? And this is like a pinnacle moment. Like this is a very important moment in the whole documentary because everything kind of culminates to this moment. She gets on the phone, she wasn't nominated for Grammy, and she's like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just gonna write the best song ever! And then she does, and then she goes to the top of the charts and she gets everything she ever wanted. And I was like, whoa. Wait a second. I thought this was a moment where you're supposed to be like, it doesn't matter. None of this is real. What matters is the people that I love. What matters is getting in touch with who I am. I'm gonna go on a silent yoga retreat with my mother. I'm gonna get rid of all of my material wealth. And I'm really going to get in touch with what really matters. I'm going to go live on a farm for a year. Like, that's what that moment should have been. But instead, it's like, I'm going to write the best song ever. She does. It's like, I don't know what the turning point is, right? I don't know what the growth is. And all I'm saying, when all is said and done, I just feel like a documentary is something you need to earn. Right? Like, exactly. Like Amy Winehouse earned her documentary. She lived for it, she died for it, she deserves it, and it's a really, really good one. So that's the one I would suggest you watch. There are too many documentaries about alive people. Pick any dead person, right? Why are we making documentaries about alive people? Go live your life, go have a career. We'll watch the documentary when you're dead, right? I want to find love, but it feels like it's hard to find, you know? And I keep having these sort of like, oh, it's maybe, no, it's not. You know, maybe, no. And I fall for narcissists a lot. I went out with this one guy who was such a narcissist. He really said this to me once. He was like, I love you more than you love me because I love myself so much. You need to love yourself more so that you can love me more. And I was like, actually, I think we both need to love you less. Because the more I love you, the more I hate myself for loving a guy who loves himself so much. I think another clue that your romance might be on the outs is I think it starts to sizzle the second you start taking off your own clothes. Right? If you're not laughing, you're worried, by the way. You're like looking at each other like, are we done? Is it over? Because in the beginning, it's so exciting, right? When it's new and fresh, it's like, you know, you're tearing off each other's clothes, you're making a mess, you're pushing each other up against walls, consensually, hopefully. And then gradually over time, you know, you don't see it coming, but it happens very slowly. You find yourself politely taking off your shirt and folding it and putting it on your side of the bed. And then he takes off his shirt and his Invisalign and puts it on his side of the bed. Then you get under the covers, you turn out the lights, and you're like, why are you Googling Brita filters? I thought you found one you liked. And he's like, I had a coupon. And you're like, I guess I'll put my clothes back on. And he's like, I didn't even notice they were off. And you're like, it's over. It's over. So I guess the point is, maybe you guys should all start taking your clothes off right now. Yeah, it's that kind of show. They're like, we already did, a long time ago. First joke in, we were naked. Our breakup was interesting because he was competitive with me. That was a problem we had. So one time, just out of the blue, he goes, you know, you're not smarter than me. And I was like, it's actually smarter than I am. And then he said, well, between you and I finished college and you didn't. And I was like, it's actually between you and me. And then he said, you and I are done. And I was like, you got that one right. I think another problem in relationships is people don't want to commit anymore, right? People are so scared of commitment. And I don't think commitment is such a complicated thing. You know, we make it so complicated, but like, how many people, you can't see each other here, but you know, you guys probably went to the grocery store today or a park. How many people did you see? Those are the two places, right? We're allowed to go to a park or a grocery store, and that's where you meet people now. Anyway, so if you guys were at the store today, I'm sure you saw a lot of people walking by, looking at the cereal or whatever. And let's say, how many people did you actually want to see naked? Right? How many? My guess is not that many. My guess is maybe one, maybe another you were curious about. So say a miracle happens and the person that you want to see naked in the park also wants to see you naked. I mean, that's pretty miraculous, right? The same person. And then say you do all the steps to get to that place. Like you buy tickets for a comedy show, you go to you listen to a girl talk about herself for an hour. Then you go to another location, you say all the right things. You get the person to take their clothes off. You finally get to that miraculous point where you get to see each other naked, and then another miracle happens and you like what you see. Do you really have to be like, I just want to see if like another miracle happens tomorrow? Like, no, just find someone you like to see naked and then just keep seeing each other naked until you don't want to see each other naked anymore. Right? That's love. It's that simple. Dating, it's complicated because like I don't want to do online dating apps, right? Because I feel like people on those apps are on there because they want to meet other people. And I don't really want to meet people who want to meet other people, right? I want to meet people who don't want to meet other people. Then they meet me who also doesn't want to meet other people. Then we fall in love the old-fashioned way, totally by accident. We're both least expecting it. We both have been too hurt to possibly love again, but we fall in love despite ourselves. Then we get married. Then we have 3 kids. Then we get a divorce and live happily ever after. That's the kind of real love I want. I did meet a guy in real life once. It was kind of a funny story because I went to the bookstore and I saw one of these books, like these self-help books, and it was called The Struggle is Real. Right? And on the cover was this hot guy, like with like cool tattoos and like, cool horn-rimmed glasses. And I was like, really? The struggle is real for that guy? Like, what did he have to struggle with? Like, did they put 2% in his oat milk latte once? Like, did his bird scooter run out of battery? Like, I don't understand what this guy ever struggled with. So I made fun of it. I was like with a friend and I was kind of roasting it for a while. And then I went and did some shows in Minnesota. And after one of my shows, this guy came up to me after, and he was kind of cute, and he was like, hey, do you want to get a drink? You were really funny. And I was like, sure. So we got a drink, and we had a really good time. And then we got excited, and we friended each other on all the social media platforms. And I saw that it was the struggle is real guy. I was like, what? This is crazy. So then, like, over a course of a couple weeks, we were flirting, and he was, like, liking my posts on Twitter, and he was, like, watching my Instagram stories and, like, texting me, and, like, we were doing all the different things, right? It was like, whoa, we really like each other. And we were going to meet up and everything. But then over some time, he kind of stopped texting me as much, but he was still, like, liking my tweets and watching my stories. And then he stopped tweeting altogether and stopped texting, but he was still watching my stories. So I was like, okay, we're still together, But then he just stopped all of it, just cold turkey. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, right? Like, I thought we had something, we had chemistry. So then I did a little research. It's called research when you know the person. Stalking is if you don't know them. So I did some research, and I found out he was on a podcast, and on this podcast, he said that some girl slid into his DMs, and I was like, well, I didn't slide into his DMs, so that wasn't me. So I texted him, I was like, you could have told me you met somebody, it's cool, it's fine, we only had a drink, but, you could have told me, and he's like, I didn't meet anyone, I was so whatever. And so then I unfollowed him, I unfriended him, I stopped texting, and then he unfollowed me and unfriended me, and I was like, well, that's very immature, And then I was like, I felt so hurt, right? Because I was like, I feel really rejected, and I don't understand why. So I have to learn something from this, right? Because I only had one drink with this guy, so I don't understand why I feel so upset about it. It really seems a little unfounded. So I thought about it, and I was like, I realize the 2 things I learned from this experience are, one is, if you do get to meet someone in real life, don't friend each other on all the social media platforms, right? Because it's just a way to be rejected on all the social media platforms. Like, it's like so many different ways to be rejected. You're like rejected on Twitter, rejected on Instagram, rejected. So I was like, I'm never doing that again, right? If I meet someone, I'm just gonna be like, we are not social media friends. It's never happening. And the other takeaway was, I was like, you can actually judge a guy by his book cover. You used to be able to text a friend, see you tomorrow, period. and then you would see her tomorrow, right? That's how it should be. But now I text a friend, see you tomorrow, period, and she texts me back a heart. Well, I can't just leave a dangling heart, right? Because I'm not So fine, I'll reciprocate the heart with a heart, right? So now she does a heart, I do a heart. Are we happy now? Can I see you tomorrow now? No. Now she has to double up her hearts. Okay, so now she does 2 red hearts, I have 1 red heart, and now I have to double up my hearts, but now I'm gonna, sift through to find a different color heart just to be unique and different, right? So now I'm sifting through and I find 2 yellow hearts. Okay, 2 yellow hearts, 2 red hearts. Are we happy? Can I see you tomorrow now? No. Now she has to do heart, heart, unicorn. Fine, I'll play. You want to do that game? Okay, fine. I'll do heart, heart, turtle, because I feel like a turtle is worth as much as a unicorn and it's a little underappreciated, right? So now she's done heart, heart, unicorn. I've done heart, heart, turtle. Is that enough? Can I see you tomorrow now? No. Now she has to like my heart, heart, turtle. We are liking likes now. A heart is a like. How much liking do we need to feel loved and validated and appreciated in this world? Now we are in a vortex of liking. I'm liking her heart, heart, unicorn. She's liking my heart, heart, turtle. We're liking. And now I've almost killed someone because obviously I'm texting and driving. Because we would rather die and kill another person than just end a sentence with a period. Now I'm at a point where if a guy texts me with a period, like if he uses a period and doesn't do anything else after, I get physically turned on. I'm like, wow, that's a man who knows how to end things. Or pick up the phone, guys who pick up the phone really have a leg up, because nobody does that anymore. So if a guy calls you, it's kind of like, whoa, this is interesting. I met a guy on Twitter recently, which I thought was okay because it's like I wasn't looking, he slid into my DMs and we were sort of messaging for a long time, and then we started FaceTiming. But there's a new thing happening now, I feel, because of all the Me Too stuff, where guys are actually being creepier by not being creepy. Which is honestly starting to creep me out more than when they were just creeps, right? Because we used to know where they were. We'd be like, there's a creep. Now they're all like, I'm not a creep. I respect women. I respect you. And we just don't know where they are.